In the dimly lit corner of the quaint, dusty bookstore, I stumbled upon a charming stranger, James. He was tall, dark, and handsome, a character straight out of my favorite romance novel. His piercing green eyes seemed to sparkle beneath his well-groomed eyebrows, and the way he casually flipped through the pages of a worn-out copy of Pride and Prejudice made my heart skip a beat. The soft laughter that escaped his lips as he pointed out a passage in the book was music to my ears. It felt as if fate had intervened, orchestrating this serendipitous encounter between us. Over the next few weeks, our lives became intertwined in the most unexpected of ways. We'd run into each other at the local coffee shop, or bump into each other while window shopping at the vintage clothing store down the street. Each time we'd lock eyes, the butterflies in my stomach would take flight, and I'd feel as if I were living out a real-life romance novel. James was attentive, charming, and made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. He'd take me on romantic walks by the river, recite poetry under the stars, and even cook me extravagant dinners by candlelight. I couldn't help but wonder if he was too good to be true. As much as I wanted to believe that this was real, that James was my knight in shining armor, a voice in the back of my head kept whispering that it was all just a fantasy, that I was just another character in his perfect little story. I tried to ignore the nagging doubts, focusing instead on the way his fingers intertwined with mine as we strolled along the pier, or the way he'd lean in close to whisper in my ear. But the more time we spent together, the more I realized that the real James was beginning to fade away, and the fictional one I had built up in my head was starting to take his place. It was as if he could sense my uncertainty, and he would constantly reassure me that our love was real, that he wasn't just some character from a book. But I couldn't help but wonder, as I lay awake at night, staring up at the ceiling, whether or not this was truly the kind of love that lasts forever. Was it possible to find happiness with someone who seemed to be pulled straight from the pages of your favorite romance novel? Or was I destined to always be stuck between the lines, forever longing for a love that existed only in my imagination?